Hi, Dr. Tammy here. I want to share with you a little bit of a stressful day and kind of a sad night that I had. And I hope that somehow this will maybe help you or inspire you or get you to see things from a little different angle. But when I was visiting my mom in assisted living tonight, and a lot of you, if you're my patients or know me, I talk about her a lot. She's just so spunky and fiery. She's a redhead. She's amazing, but she has Alzheimer's, dementia, and my prayer to God has always been, please let her always remember me, and she always has. So, my prayer's been answered, and I've always said I can deal with everything else. And a story I like to tell is that I was there coloring her hair one night and had spent 2 hours with her, that fiery red Clara 102, if you know the number. And as I was leaving, she said, when are you going to come color my hair? And it just blew me away. I was really, really saddened by that. And I went home, I had a good cry, and I called my brother and I said, you know what? I'm sad and I'm concerned because I know that she's worsening and progressing, and I think the thing I'm most conflicted about, though, that I'm embarrassed about, is that I watched our grandmother, her mother, die of complications of Alzheimer's. It was absolutely horrible. So I don't know if you've been touched by Alzheimer's in your life, but those last stages are just gruesome. And anyway, so she just wasted away basically, and I see that decline with my mother happening. But my biggest concern is genetics and third generation, and is it a matter of if, or is it a matter of when? And so every time I lose my keys, or you get a little distracted or something, or you can't remember something, you start getting worried, you start getting concerned, and you start thinking, is this it? Is this it? Is my memory going? And so, and my mom's been really scared, and she's always saying, I know my mind's going, I know my memory's going, I hate it. And so it's a really sad thing to watch. So that night that I colored her hair and had that experience, I'm telling my brother about it. He said, Tammy, he said, you make decisions every single day that every bite you put in your mouth, you exercise, you keep your mind active. He said, your environment, your choices are going to trump those genetics, and you don't have to worry about it. That's not going to happen to you. And I believe in the power of positive thinking, and if you worry and you focus on things, those are the things that you're going to attract to you and bring to you. So I don't spend much time thinking about that or thinking about my memory going, but sometimes you get a little concerned. And so I believe that. And I know that I practice what I preach and exercise and eat right. So, and take supplements and all that's very, very important. And I help my patients with that every day. And I'm completely confident when I tell my patients that this doesn't have to be your fate too. So if you've experienced, whatever it is, Alzheimer's, cancer, heart disease, whatever you have in your family, genetics. But anyway, so I was visiting my mom tonight, and we were talking, and I was sitting there, and it was just so sad because she's really progressed. We called an old friend that she hadn't talked to in years. I just kind of like Googled it on my phone, and I found her number, and we called her. And as I was sitting there with her, I saw this water pool up on the floor underneath a wheelchair, and I was like, what's that water coming from? And then I realized, it was just dripping from underneath her chair, that she'd wet on herself. And oh my gosh, that was just, that's just so overwhelming to watch that and see that progression. And earlier today, I think what really impacted me the most was earlier today, I had a little bit of a stressful situation. I had an appointment away from the office, and when I checked my calendar, I accidentally looked at tomorrow's schedule, and I thought that I had an appointment at the exact same time with a patient in the office. And my phone wasn't working right, and I wasn't able to call the office and say, tell them, I'll rearrange my schedule. I'll be there in a few minutes. No one was answering the office phone because they were probably away, helping patients or doing something. And I only tried like once, but it was enough to stress me out. And I just felt the stress rising. And my husband is a guru with stress, and he has counseled, and he's a retired therapist and has been an international speaker. He's amazing, and he works with traumatized children. And part of the stress model that he teaches is that when you're under stress, especially extreme duress or stress, part of the brain that is your short-term memory, is completely frazzled. So your cognitive thinking and your short-term memory is completely gone. So I understand that concept, because today it was really scary, because for literally like 3 to 5 minutes, I was trying to think of one of our people that works in the office, and she's actually been a friend of mine for several years. And so, I'm trying to think, because I want to call her cell phone, and I could not remember her name. I mean, she's a dear friend of mine. I mean, she's just a precious part of my life. I could not remember her name, and I kept thinking, I know her name. I know her name. This is ridiculous. I could see her face. I could see everything about her. I could almost see every interaction we'd ever had. Could not remember her name. And so, finally, when the stress abated a little bit, I could remember her name. And it was like, oh, yeah, of course. So I think the point that I want to make is, sometimes we get so overwhelmed and scared because we see the what isness. I saw the what isness of my grandmother and my mother, and I keep thinking, even though I know better, I keep thinking, maybe, just maybe, it's still going to happen to me. And in those moments when I get stressed, and my memory goes, I think, oh, this is terrible. This could actually be it, my memory going. But the thing I want to point out to that is that stress causes short-term memory loss. So if you are doing everything right, you're eating right, you're exercising, you're doing all those things right, and you still experience some issues with your memory, which a lot of my patients come in saying with their hormone imbalances, they feel like their memory's starting to go. It's not your memory, it's stress. And so we have to work on ways to control that stress, to reduce that stress. And so I've got some videos and some different things on my website that I want to share with you for stress reduction. And my YouTube channel is Dr. Tammy. My website's Dr. Tammy Post. So lots of information I'm going to be sharing with stress reduction and our program. I get to help people every day with hormones and stress reduction and all that stuff. But it's very important that you acknowledge the stress in your life. So if you're under a tremendous amount of stress, or if you have food sensitivities and you're eating foods that are stressing you, or you're eating foods that have a lot of toxins that stress the body, all that stress can cause your memory to go. So don't worry that it's Alzheimer's or whatever kicking in. Just acknowledge the stress and start doing some things to start working towards reducing it. So anyway, a sad night, but it really kind of has come full circle in my understanding of memory and stress and taking care of yourself. And it's so, so important. So hope you're taking care of yourself, and I hope you have a fabulous night.